Barakati Hawa, Barakati Hawa Shai, Barakati Hawa, Barakati Hawa Shai, Barakati Hawa, Barakati Hawa Shai, Kohalayim, Yahwa, Bahashem, Yahwa Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone rule well over the flock of Israel. Shalom and salutations to you, Aki, my here pushing words of truth and sincerity. Shalom. All right. I'm Rapal Mouth. I brought this out. This video is edifying. The title says The Vanishing Adults, How a Functional Society is Running Out of Mature Leaders. And if you have a job, a 9 to 5, you could tell that this society is definitely running out of mature leaders, mature adults. This video I got pulled up is going to go into globalization a little bit, but I'm really going to be referencing what this Jake or this guy says. He looks like an Edomite, but he could be a Jake. But what he's talking about is how there's going to be basically a collapse. And the title of the video is Brace Yourselves for the Collapse of Modern Society. So obviously, we dealing with NWO and elites ushering a new society, a new type of society that you're not used to. And what that's going to be like is going to be with the MOTB, all right, which is Revelations 13 and 16, all right. And that ushering in of that digital currency where you're going to be able to buy and sell only with your digital currency is going to be the end or the fall of the collapse of modern society. And so he kind of going into globalization and the idea that America started that after World War II. But during that time, there was something called baby boomers. Those are people in their 60s right now. And basically, they just all retired within the last 5 years. So society really is being ushered in for a change because during the industrial revolution, so to speak, and when people went from farms to industries and worked factory jobs, that was a change in itself. That was a big change when America and the world got industrialized. Then you had globalization, which occurred where you had this system where empires would do trade, and trade was big, and they do business together. And this is where in Revelations 18 it goes into America being like a merchant city that all the nations wept at when Babylon, this city America, got her judgment. And so this place America has been that golden cup which the nations make the nations drunk, but there's also been a place of merchandise. That's because of globalization, because America's main role into feeding these countries with money and creating this system that they can get rich off of. So I'm gonna go into a little bit of this video, play a few things. I want you to take a listen to what he says about mature adults, because that's what he's saying there's a lack of now because of baby boomers just graduated to their retirement stage. So let's check it out. The End of Globalization is the name of the segment, and let's play this.
So we had fewer. You play that forward for 70 years, and it's not that we're running out of children. That happened 40 years ago. It's that we're running out of mature adults. And so the economic model of globalization is consumption-based, and it just doesn't work without people. So we've always known we were going to get here in the end. It just happened. The Americans forced the issue. At the end of the war, we told everyone that we would patrol the global oceans so that anyone could send any cargo ship anywhere to trade in any product with any partner. That's what made globalization work. Now, we didn't do this because we were nice. We didn't do this because it was a trade program. We did this as a bribe. This is what we gave everyone so that they would join us against the Soviets. Well, Soviet Union collapsed in 1992. So Americans have been electing ever more isolationist and populist leaders ever since. So for you to believe that globalization can continue, you have to believe that A, it doesn't require consumption anymore, and B, that the Americans will continue to bleed and die so that the Chinese can get energy. That's a bad bet.
So he's basically against the idea that this globalization trend is going to keep going and how this whole new system is going to come out of it. But he mentions that there's a lack of mature adults, and you can see it now. You work, personally at work, you can see it. It's a lot of younger people, but the younger people just don't got the skill set when you was first coming into this thing, in work, and you was young, you had those older people with all those skill set. Well, they gone now. Now the average person at work is in their 30s and their 40s, or in their, really in their 20s, and they don't have no real skill set. And basically, he's saying that has a lot to do with the end of globalization. So let's hear him talk about this phenomenon called the lack of mature adults again.
Yeah.
So largely checked out. Demographic flip well past the point of no return, and the Americans have largely checked out.
You said that 2019 is the best that the world will ever be. What was particularly special about that one year?
So think of your demographic profile as a pyramid. Children on the bottom, retirees at the top, mortality built it into a pyramid. As we industrialized and urbanized, it became more of a column, and eventually an inverted V with more mature adults than children. In 2019 was the last year before the baby boomers really got into retirement in a big way. So we had this massive post-war generation throughout the Western world that were all, on average, 63. So they hadn't retired yet. And all of their investments and all their retirement savings were churning along, providing capital for the whole system. We still had a huge amount of consumption out in the world. But you fast forward 3 years, this year, on average, they turn 66. So it's over. We've lose their consumption. We lose their investment. They have to liquidate all their stocks and bonds and go into T-bills and cash because they won't have the ability to recover from a crash. And we're also seeing some of the fastest demographic aging in human history throughout the developing world, with China being the far most advanced.
So he's saying it's all coming downhill because that large group of adults that used to be at work have left the work field. They taking their skill, they taking their money, because it's called the baby boomer generation for a reason, because there were so many of them. And that's what really set off this globalization. America basically had all of the people it needed, all right, learning to be able to really, boom like it did, especially after the Soviet Union fell. That's why they got everybody on board. But now that mature, that 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 line, that product line, so to speak, of mature adults is ending, man. And now you're gonna have a lot of immaturity going on. And anytime a nation sees immaturity, it's tragic for that kingdom. Let's go on to another point he made.
Your income keeps going up. So the delta between your income and your expenses gets very, very large. And that's where all the financial heft comes from. But these are also our most productive workers because they literally have decades of experience. And from roughly 1985 until 2015, the world was in kind of the perfect balance because we had a lot of those countries with the mature worker demographics and then a lot with the younger worker demographics. What's happened is that countries who joined globalization in the second wave in the 1990s, mostly the developing world, they urbanized and aged out much faster than the rich world did. So when we hit 2015, that big chunk of developing world workers, the experienced workers, the productive workers, the ones who saved, they're now moving into retirement. We're losing their money, we're losing their skills.
And that's basically he's putting all his eggs in that basket. Like, you're not going to have the same type of system no more because all these people who the society relied on to keep this balance is now going into retirement. They're not going to be spending the money they were spending. And spending money keeps this system going. That's why the title is Brace Yourself for the Collapse of Modern Society. And this guy's name is Peter Zeihan. Let me keep playing.
But because the developing world is aging so much faster, they're moving into their 40s and their 50s, but they haven't been able to build up the skill set because their systems were not as established. But their birth rates dropped faster than the West's did. So they actually have lower birth rates in many cases than most of the advanced world. So we've lost children on both sides of the ledger. And now our new mature workers just don't have the skill set to keep it up. And even if they did, they wouldn't have anyone to sell to.
He said our new mature workers don't have the skill set to keep it up. And I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that daily at work, man. The people who are mature enough to have to do the work, they out it's just too much. There's not enough mature people to handle the workload anymore. There's not enough mature adults really, and when you're dealing with maturity, all right, now I'm gonna jump back, stop sharing for a second, and then I'm gonna pull up some other tabs. Because when you're dealing with maturity, you're dealing with everything that you need to keep a society running and functional, man. All right, so let me share this screen and share my window. Boom, boom, boom. So let's see what this maturity idea is all about. All right, as you can see here, pulled up. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, so it says maturity. Lack of maturity in adults can include impulsive behavior, poor impulse control, and an inability to accept responsibility. Well, if you have too many of all the adults that are here, right? Again, the baby boomer generation, right, which the guy was speaking about, is gone now. They retiring. So the ones that's actually in the workforce, they can't keep it up. There was way more mature adults. Remember, America created a nation of doers, not a nation of thinkers. So it also struck nerves in the family through through feminism movement, through taking the father out of the household, through causing dysfunction in the family unit is not as strong as it was back in the 50s, 40s, 60s. And so now you got a lot of kids that's raised by TV, snacks, all right? They're raised by, impulsive behavior, poor impulse control, and inability to accept responsibility. Responsibility is unheard of in this world because these are signs of immaturity. This 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 workforce of people can't handle the work because they're not mature, and this is why you see a lot of people why they really sneaking so many people across the border. It's really the work. The article just came out through Tyson in New York. Tyson just hired all types of immigrants. Let me see if I can pull it up. Tyson Foods immigrants. Let's see, or migrants. They just hired so many of them, and there's a reason behind it because they need mature people to keep it going. Look at that. This say fact check. Tyson did not say it wants to hire 4,200 illegal. Right? They saying that's misinformation. However, we all know why they came in, why they brought them the migrants in. Their work ethic is better because they're more mature. They don't lack a responsibility. They don't lack impulsive behavior. They're not impulsive, right? As Americans growing up off of McDonald's and these things is, man. And just this is just the truth of the matter. America can't sustain what the baby boomers left behind. There's not enough mature adults to handle all of that. Here are some consequences of immaturity: impacting relationships with others, hindering emotional and interpersonal skills. And you can see that at work. Like the ones that's supposed to be at top positions or big positions, one, there's not enough of them, and two, they lack they lack a lot of qualities. And ultimately what it gets into is that these people do not have the truth, man. These people do not have the truth. They have, even the wise amongst them aren't wise, man. All right, even the wise amongst them. Psalms 119 and 98, it's this word that gives you ultimate enlightenment. It's this word that opens your eyes. It's this word that causes you to understand things. And any absence of that, it's supposed to fold. It's supposed to collapse. Psalms 119 and 98. Though through thy commandments hast made me wiser than mine enemies, for they are ever with me. I have more understanding than all my teachers, for thy testimonies are my meditation. I understand more than the ancients because I kept thy precept. And just rewinding and digesting a little bit. We had a very inspirational situation here where the body can edify itself. The body nourishes each other. Brothers, for our form of entertainment is going into chariot sightings and talking about the wise sayings of Solomon and Samuel in the wise sayings of Yahushua. You know, for fun, we watch movies about destruction, you know, and talk about the times, and even go into ancient times. This is why this all came through the Most High opening our eyes through understanding of the scriptures. It goes on. It says in Psalms 103, 119 and 103, how sweet are thy words unto my taste, yea, sweeter than honey to my mouth. Through thy precepts I get understanding, therefore I hate every false way. We hate the false ways, and we don't want any part of that falseness. That falseness is nasty to us. We don't want any part of that, man. You know, that falseness is idols, idol worship, and tricks and the lies, and basically being brainwashed to think America has much more longer to go. And that's why I brought out that video, because this man is basically telling you in his own, for his own research, he's a geopolitical analyst, Peter Zion, that you got to brace yourself for the collapse of modern society, man. This globalization stuff only works when the population is right, and it worked better when the baby boomers were here, not when this new generation is here. This new generation lacks maturity. They know not they can't they don't have the skills to handle um everything that the baby boomers left behind. There's a big gap in the maturity level of the last age group that ran America and the ones that's is left in the hands of the young people. It's a big it's a big difference, man. And you can't you just it's not they're not mature enough, and it's not enough. So what this means is it's bad news for Babylon. Psalms 19:9 and 17, the wicked shall be turned into hell, and all nations that forget the Father Yahweh. For the needy shall not always be forgotten, the expectation of the poor shall not perish. So what one thing we could understand and perceive from this is that this place, Babylon, has to be destroyed. It's going to be turned into hell. And this is what the chaotic state of affairs that's playing out in Babylon, meaning all of these, the system is crashing. You got illegals crossing the border. That's really to supply Babylon with some mature men. You see, it's mostly men, but there's not enough mature people to keep this system going. It's not. You got the young people not even joining the army like they used to. All right. The young people they don't they they into the conspiracies and not voting. So this whole society is really collapsing. It's collapsing. It's turning on itself. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and this is prophecy that this place is going to be destroyed because it's wicked. All right. The scripture said the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. All right. You think America was going to be a top nation of the world, governing the whole world like they've done through globalization, right after the fall of the Berlin Wall and the fall of the Soviet Union in the 1980s. America became the top superpower of the world and held that position to this day. All right. Now, you think America's going to get that great and not be quoted or talked about in the Bible when it talks about every great civilization up until this time? No. This is the place of the wicked that shall be turned into hell, and all nations that forget Yahweh the Father. So you got to keep your eye on what the Lord's doing. It's his will. Thy will be done. This is Mark 16:15. And he said unto them, go ye into all the world, preach the gospel to every creature. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're professing. Professing to say before it happens, or prophesy to say before it happens. A prophet was known as a seer in the ancient world because he would see things. All right. Another name for our job or a duty is to be watchman. So we could look out. Watchman was an actual position or a duty or a job that men held, and it would be watches on the at the watchtower of every post, or at the post of the walls of any city. All right. Every town and city had in the ancient world had walls, and that's what separated the outside people from the inside people, citizens from non-citizens. And in order to have access into the city as a citizen, you have to enter through those gates, or you have to be opened to the gate. So this idea that we preaching this gospel and we standing upon our post, looking out, peering out into the distance of what's to come. The signs are here. You know, the Lord left us signs. All right. He left us tokens. He left us messages. He left us messengers. He left us prophecy. So it says, go ye into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. You got that right now because you have this internet that pushes this word throughout the world. We don't have to actually visit Zimbabwe, but there's brothers there. We don't have to visit Australia, but there's brothers there because this word has been preached throughout the world. It said, he that believeth is baptized, and is baptized shall be saved, but he that believeth not shall be damned. So the damnation of these people is going to happen because the Lord said it's going to happen. That's safe the Bible. So, you know, we go throughout our day and we see things and we reading articles and we keeping each other informed on different current events and all leading up to major prophecies that the scriptures tell us about because we believe, right? And the Lord said salvation is for those that believe and damnation is for those that don't believe, right? And to be damned, just a quick Google search, it says condemned by Yahweh to suffer eternal punishment. So you're going to receive that fire, and that fire is going to be in brimstone is brought down by thermonuclear war. Yeah, the Lord uses man's technology. All right. And as we see technology revving up, we also see the increase of the missile systems revving up. They're getting sharper. The sword is getting sharper. Revelations 21:8 says, but the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and liars and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. So you got to understand that the Most High has already laid out the foundation of how this place is going to go. It's going to go with fire and brimstone. And so you take a look around at what can cause such a destruction. It's obviously them arrows. Modern day arrows is ICBM thermonuclear missiles. So he has all those that don't believe. You see how it says the fearful, unbelieving, and abominable is filthy in the eyes of the Lord. Everybody that just casts it off the Lord is and remains wicked, you're going to take part in the lake of fire, which means you're going to have a good part in it. You're going to be a part of it. And that's the second death, the first death being Noah in the flood. And when you think about that flood story, it should be it's a shocking idea. Just it's a very awesome story, man. It draws awe. It makes you in shock because you're telling me the Lord deleted everyone except for 8 souls, man. That's how serious and permanent this is. So we to the wise be wise still. To the just be just still. Continue to learn, brothers. Continue to take this thing serious, man. Because Esau can see it coming. All right. We can see it coming. Isaiah 47:1 says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. The idea that Babylon, America, is tender and delicate. First of all, it's talking about America because it's the virgin daughter. All right. In order for something to be a virgin, it has to be untouched. And in order for you to be the daughter of Babylon, that means you're not actual Babylon. You're the daughter of it. Meaning that as the mother, so is the daughter. You come in the same similitude. You're the virgin daughter of Babylon. And America's customs prove that it is the reincarnation of ancient Babylon, also the Chaldeans, which was witches and sorcerers. There's a lot of that goes on behind scenes in Babylon. Even in front of your face, you just don't understand it. Just like how the streets of DC is decoded occult symbols, but you would never know that because you weren't taught that in school. So it says, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. So the Lord is going to take away that tender and delicate stamp and stigma that Babylon has right now. What's it mean to be tender? Let's see. What's it mean to be tender? Let's go down here. All right, let's go down here. To be tender of flesh, tender, delicate, right? Implication, soft, right? Soft, delicate. So it's pretty simple, right? You know, mild, gentle, soft. Why? Because it's never been touched. And just like an actual virgin who's never been touched, she is tender, she is delicate, right? But America is basically going to get ran through. And that's what this terminology is alluding to. America's going to get touched. She's going to get touched by missiles. Take the millstone and grind meal. Uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Why? Because there's been a lot of wickedness. What these, these studious guys who make these videos, like the Peter Zion, the brace yourself for the collapse of modern society. What he, isn't figuring is that even if America finally found the right formula to bounce back, it wouldn't. You know, the caption says the world is changing faster than ever, and a lot of countries, dynamics, peace treaties, and structures we're familiar with may be about to come to end. So peace treaties and structures is going to come to end. All right. So, this is going to usher in that NWO. This is going to usher in all the prophecies of the scriptures. So you see, we never had to lead the scriptures in the first place. We never had to. Right? Uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Why? Because thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. So the Lord is going to personally deliver the sentence against of judgment and justice against Babylon. Revelation 11 and 8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Because earlier I went into the idea, well, this guy, he goes into the idea that America is coming to a point where they're losing mature adults. And because all of the mature adults are going over to something called retirement. Okay. And what is mature adults? What are they even needed for? Wisdom, stability, leadership. All right. Making informed decisions. You don't get a lot of that with immature people. All right. Taking responsibility. You don't get that. All right. Having guidance. You don't get guidance with immature adults. Right. Somebody who understands the world. That's why he's breaking down things like globalization. That's understanding how the world works. It's complex. Right. How to navigate through challenges, how to deal with conflicts. Right. Be effective at speaking, communication. These are things that immature people don't have, man. What's going to happen? The movie is called Idiocracy or Idiocracy. Damn, what's the name of that movie? Something along the lines of Idiocracy. Let me see if I can see the thing. Idiocracy. All right, and because I got it on what you call it, because I got it on thing, it's not going to play the audio. But this movie basically shows you the whole idea, all right, of what happened to Babylon. They just became more idiots, man. They just become idiots, man. Babylon loses because everything's died down. The maturity is all dried up and gone like a well. And so all of these people that's retiring, they're not going to be at the job site no more. And you're going to be fed to deal with all the idiots on your own. That's all that's happening right now in real time. All right, let's get back into it. Let's see here. Isaiah 30, nope, Revelations. I was at Revelations 11 and 8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of that great city, which is spiritually called Sodom in Egypt, where all our Lord was crucified. Who's dead bodies? Israel. And what's the dead? That's a metaphor. When you look that word up, it means metaphor for spiritually dead person. So their mind is dead. So you can't be mature and spiritually dead. You see? And that's why things that happen in the Diddy and things that happen in the Cuba Gooding Jr. and all of this, man, we're thankful for that. Because these are dead men masquerading as alive and trying to tell and so-called leaders, immature leaders. That's all that's left in Babylon. It says shall lie in the street of the great city. So the Israelites who don't have their remembrance or understanding of who they are, they're spiritually dead and they're lying in Babylon, America, which is spiritually called Sodom. Why? Because of the constant push for LGBT. And Egypt. Why? Because that's the place of our spiritual, our bondage here in America. And then we were also bondage in ancient Egypt. All right. It's also where all of these gods is worshipped. False pagan, the idols is worshipped here in Babylon. It says where also our Lord was crucified, right? The image of our Lord was crucified, right? So-called white Jesus. And his name ain't Jesus. All right. It says, and they of the people and the kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. The reason I brought this out is because this adds to the immaturity. You see a dead body and don't suffer it to put in graves. Well, remember, we're talking about spiritually dead people. They know who the Israelites are. They got the records. Esau got the records, but it's behoove him to keep the rest of the nation dumb and blind. And so now they're at the point where their whole lie is being uprooted. Remember the scripture we read it earlier. Take the millstone and grind milk, uncover the locks, make bare the leg. This lie, this Edomite lie that they are the chosen people, this Edomite lie that they need to rule the world. If the world goes into China's hand, it's terrible. If the world goes, this lie that we need to take up arms for this country or something like that. These are all lies. The Lord is uncovering the thigh. We know now who the children of Israel are. We know now what's to happen to America, aka Mystery Babylon the Great, is to be destroyed with fire. That's the call for the Heavenly Father. That's His will, right? Again, Psalms 9 and 17: the wicked shall be turned into hell, and the nations, all the nations that forget Yahweh. So you forgot. That's the reason why you going into destruction, Esau and Shesau. It say 3 days and a half. Why? What did they cause us to be unburied for 3 days and a half? Because 350 years of hardcore slavery, 1820s to the 1960s, 17, 18s, 27, 19. Let's see, 350 years prior to 1970, maybe 1620s, 1720s, 1820s, 19. Right? In 50 years, 3.5 days, 350 years, was the time of us coming over here on slave ships until the time when the Lord allowed this truth to come out, right? And the gospel to be preached. We read that earlier. And He said, "Go ye into all the world and preach the gospel." Well, Abba Bivens came around in the late 60s and started teaching publicly, prophesying that we were the Israelites. All right, you're not just a black, you're not Hamites, you're not African Americans, and you are the true biblical children of Israel. And that was preached here in the midst of the dead bodies, right? It's the dead bodies that need to be revived. It's the dead bodies that need to be brought back to life through prophesying. Read about that in the book of Ezekiel. So they didn't suffer these dead bodies to be put in graves. So and it goes on to say they dwelt, they rejoiced over it, and they made merchandise, made merry. So it's been the big lie. Who are these people? And what have they with prophecy? What have they to do with the Heavenly Father and the Most High? Everything. We are the chosen people of the Lord, right? And so for the judgments against you for keeping, for doing what you done to us, you're going to have to deal with the wrath of the Father. As it says here, Yahweh's wrath against nations. Isaiah 34 and 1 says, come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation, which means righteous anger, you look it up, or anger provoked by what is perceived as unfair treatment. What you did to Israel was unfair. Right? Only because you furthered the affliction. Only because you didn't cause their dead bodies to be. You lying on who we are. You lying on who the Most High are. You done did it, Esau. The indignation of the Lord is upon all nations. So that goes for all of these nations. So the Most High is wrathful and angry. It says, and His fury. Can't mistake that word. He's angry upon all their armies. And who has armies? Does Israel have an army? No. Esau has an army. Moab has an army. Ammon has an army, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Ham has armies. It says, He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. So the Lord is going to deal with these nations, man. Once and for all, He's done. He's going to judge them. All right. It's going to end upon, fall upon His own pate. And the Most High is going to restore Israel. All right. So Abaradazah, this video is edifying. I'm going to leave it there. I want to say, Kahaloyim, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. All right, double honors to the apostles, elders, bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. And I'll be out this video is edifying. And till next time, Shalom.